Hi everyone, I'm Tom and today I'm going to be doing a video about my CBT experience. Now the CBT in this case is not cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy. That'll be a very different type of video. What it stands for is compulsory basic training. It's the first step you have to take to obtain a full motorbike license here in the UK. Yeah, I can legally ride a motorbike. Freaking scary. Anyway, I noticed that there weren't very many videos online about what it's like to take your CBT, so I thought if I made this video, it could potentially be helpful to anyone who's considering doing it, and you could learn a bit about what is involved in the test itself. Actually, I should correct myself. It's not a test as such. It's nothing like taking a driving test, which is just, 45 minutes in the car. Your compulsory basic training will take a full day, and at the end of that day, the instructor that you've had will assess whether or not he thinks you are safe to be let onto the roads. Okay, cool. So my experience of a CBT. I had to get up really early. The thing started at 8 o'clock in the morning, so make sure that you have a good night's sleep beforehand and you have a proper breakfast, because you are going to be there all day and you're going to feel really tired at the end of the day. So the first thing that happened to me was I arrived and the instructor was a bit late, which was, not great, but whatever. There were two other people that were waiting in cars and I was by myself, so I kind of stood there really awkwardly, not knowing if I was at the right place or not. But when he did turn up, the first thing we had to do was just to read the registration plate or license plate of a car that was across the road. After that, we all walked to the test centre. I felt a bit awkward when I was doing my CBT because the two other people that were there were both middle-aged men and they had had experience riding motorbikes before. Now, I had never even sat on a motorbike. I was worried that I would be the person who sucks, basically. But it was all absolutely fine. They were really nice guys. So if you are worried that you don't have any experience and the other people will when you take your CBT, don't be, because everyone is treated as though they are at the same standard and has to do exactly the same stuff. So we got to the test centre and the instructor took the motorbikes out of this big shed, and this was quite intimidating actually seeing them, but it was also really freaking cool because motorbikes are cool, like, obviously. And this is where the CBT really began. So the first thing he did was talk us through all of the gear that you use. So things like jackets, helmets, gloves, all of the stuff you would expect to be told about. The information itself was really basic at this point. He was just telling us how to tell if a helmet is of a reliable manufacturer and that it's not some really cheap knockoff version that isn't going to protect you properly. And he also gave us information about the correct clothing you should wear when you're riding a bike. The instructor would spend about half an hour talking about a certain subject or a certain part of the bike, and he would then ask each of us an individual question about what he had just been talking about. So do listen to what he's saying, because it's really embarrassing if he asks you a question about something he was talking about 2 seconds ago and you all just stood there like, dunno mate. So then after he's talked about the gear, you'll actually get to go over to the bike and have a look at it for the first time. I'll talk you through the basics of the bike itself. So for example, where and how you change the oil, how to fill up the tank, the clutch, the brake, how to take the bike on and off the stand. And as I mentioned before, after saying all of this, he would ask us each questions. Then you get to the bit where you get to walk the bike. Now this is a really bizarre thing because you'd think it would be really easy, like obviously, but it's a lot harder than you think. It's partly the weight of the thing. It's also because it's so chunky. If you're walking a bicycle, there's very little width to it to go next to you, but a motorbike is like that, and you're kind of holding it like this and going along, and it's just difficult. But you go around some cones, usual stuff. After that, we were all asked to get on the bike and turn it on. This was when I began to get really scared. These were obviously not big or powerful motorbikes, but actually sitting on a bike, feeling the engine like rumbling in it and knowing the power that's there is pretty intimidating. And I personally think if you are nervous, that's a good thing. I think you should be worried about it because that will make you more careful and it'll make you respect the bike a bit more. As you might imagine, this is where you do things like riding around in a circle. And once we'd done that, we went over to a different section of car park and did things like figure of eights and learning how to change gears on the bike. Now, I'm going to be totally honest. I wasn't having a very good time. I found it really difficult getting my head around the clutch being here and the throttle being there. I'd keep trying to brake with this hand. It confused me and my brain and my body just weren't working together very well. I was riding it apparently competently. I just didn't feel confident in what I was doing. And this progressed when we actually rode out onto the streets. With a CBT, after you've done all the basic stuff, you are taken out onto the roads. You'll go out riding for a total of about 2 hours. What happens is the instructor is riding in the middle. There's one person ahead of him and one person behind of him. So for an hour, he will be telling the person ahead of him what to do. And then after that, they'll swap round so that the person who was in the front goes to the back and the person who was at the back goes to the front. This gives each person who's riding a chance to be at the front and to lead the group so that he has to do everything correctly. I was genuinely terrified when we had to go out, and part of me wanted to say to the instructor, I don't think I'm ready, can I do some more riding around the car park first? But I didn't say that, and I went out, and the first corner we came to, I released the clutch too fast and I went flying around this corner and I actually went the wrong side of the road, nearly crashed into a car. It really scared me. Now, I'm absolutely sure that practically everyone who's doing their CBT for the first time will be feeling scared, so I don't want this to discourage you from doing it. I want rather it to make you aware that it's probably normal, so don't get worried. And there's a reason that you have so much time out on the road. It's so that you can get your confidence up. And believe me when I say this, even if you're absolutely terrified at the beginning, it is so worth it when you come back into the test center. If you're confident on the bike, the wind is rushing past you, you're filtering through traffic, you're getting up to higher speeds, it's so much fun. And at the end of the day, the instructor was signing the certificate that made it legal for me to buy and ride my own motorbike. And that was awesome. And I left that place feeling absolutely knackered, so tired. I slept so much when I got back, but feeling great. And it's a really good thing to accomplish, especially if you can't afford a car. So yeah, I really hope that people have found this information interesting and informative, and that if you are worried about your CBT, you have less worries and that you know what to expect now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.